So the way it works is contrast causes you to launch those rockets. When someone's rude to you, you prefer nicer relationships. When you get lost every time you leave the house, you launch rockets that are asking for more clarity, a greater sense of direction. When you aren't paid what you think you're worth, you are launching rockets of desire to be paid according to what you believe you are worth. When something happens in your world or in your government, you launch rockets of preference of the way you would like it to be. And all of those preferences are held for you, but cannot be realized by you in terms of manifestation until you consistently offer a vibration that matches them. So what it comes down to is you just can't complain about the absence of things you want and ever let them in. You have to find somehow, some way to become a closer vibrational match to the things that you're asking for. So we say, think about what you want. We'll say to our friends, what is it you want? And they'll say, I want to be over there. And we'll say, well, tell us about what's over there. Why does that appeal to you? And they'll say, because over here is so awful. And we say, well, now we're talking about over here again. Let's talk about over there. And they say, all right, I really want to get over there. And we'll say, well, tell us what's over there. What will it be like when you're over there? And they'll say, oh, it will be so much better than over here. And we say, in what way? And they'll say, well, let me tell you what's wrong with over here. And we say, well, we would really rather talk about what's over there. But our friends, almost all of you, are more practiced about what's over here. And so these words fly out of you. You have clever dialogue that you offer. You have stories that you've been telling for years. You have jokes that you've picked up that match the points that you're trying to make. In other words, you have points that you want to make that point out that things should be better for you. But in every moment that you're making those points, you're holding yourself vibrationally apart from the better life that is waiting for you in vibrational escrow. In other words, you just can't keep telling those stories. You just can't keep activating where you are and move to a different place. And that's why most of the people you know, maybe even you're noticing it in your own life experience, things don't change that much for you. Different places, different faces, but things keep percolating along pretty much as they have been because most of you are offering most of your vibration in response to what you are observing. So you observe what is, you offer a vibration about what is, the universe matches what is, and then you observe what is. And then you observe what is, and you offer a vibration what is, the universe matches what is, and then you observe what is. And as you observe what is, you offer a vibration of what is, and the universe matches what is, and then you get more of what is. And then you observe what is, and then the universe matches what is, and then you complain about what the universe is doing about what you're getting, and then the universe matches more of it, and then you're getting the picture, aren't you? Something has to change in your approach to the way you offer your vibration. And what we're really wanting to say to you is you have to decide that you're going to offer your thoughts in response to how they feel, not in response to how habitual they are. It would sort of be like having something that your mother cooked for you that you never liked. And now you've been out of her kitchen for years, but you still eat it every day. And someone says to you, you must really like that. And you say, actually, I can't stand it. And they say, then why are you eating it? And you say, what? Well, I eat it because I've always eaten it. My mother encouraged me to eat it, and so I just eat it. And your enlightened friend might say, why? If you don't like it, why are you eating it? And we're more or less putting that same question to you. These thoughts that feel so uncomfortable about physical decline or about inappropriateness of yourself or someone else, these thoughts that feel so uncomfortable, why do you continue to focus upon them and beat yourself up with them? Years ago, Jerry and Esther went to a comedian, a famous comedian at the time, Victor Borge. And at one point in his presentation, someone in the audience began to cough. And he called attention to it. And as he focused upon this coughing person, then another, and another, and another, and another, and another, and another, and another. Jerry had seen several of his presentations in years gone by. It was one of his normal routines. And Esther said, does he plant those people to cough? And Jerry said, no. They are real people in the audience that by the power of suggestion just begin to cough. And the more attention is focused upon it, the more coughing happens, until within a few minutes, the audience is coughing so much, it almost brings the presentation to a halt. It's a very interesting thing. Power of suggestion is nothing more than an activation of vibration that calls forth within you things that are already present within you. So if you have been thinking thoughts through time, and then someone else who is now thinking the thought is commenting on the thought, and so now you're both thinking the thought together and having the exposure to the thought together, this thought is a more activated thought, and the likelihood of this thought being activated again is now greater than it was even before this activation. So these activated thoughts, we really want you to focus upon that word. An activated thought is nothing more than something you're giving your attention to, which is for the time of your attention activated. But the more often you activate a thought, then the more easily activated it is until it becomes a dominantly activated thought. And a dominantly activated thought is nothing more than a habitual thought. It's what you would call a belief. Now, people think that beliefs are factual conclusions. And maybe that's a good description of a belief. In other words, you think something's true, so you focus upon it, and as you focus upon it, you activate it, and as you activate it, law of attraction brings it to you, and you say, see, I knew it was true. And we say, everything is truth that you give your attention to for very long, because you can't give your attention to anything for very long without activating it enough that it will manifest in your experience. And so saying, I'm giving my attention to this because it's true, seems a little silly to us. That's like saying someone else focused upon something they did not want long enough that they activated it long enough that it manifested in their experience, and because it is manifested in their experience by their attention to it, then I should give my attention to it long enough that it activates and manifests in my experience. And we say, we don't understand that reasoning. That's like saying, because someone else did something that I do not want to do, I should do it too. And we know you don't mean that, and yet that's what so many of you are doing, because you are, we love you, sloppy with your thoughts. In other words, you are lazy about thinking. You think the thoughts that are the easiest, and we have to say to you, the thoughts that are the easiest to think are the thoughts that have already been the most activated. The thoughts that are the easiest to think are the thoughts that have already manifested and that are surrounding you. If a comedian can make a room full of people begin coughing just by the power of suggestion in a matter of minutes, then can you imagine what's happening to you as you listen to the television playing in the background with hour after hour after hour of commercial pointing out your fallibility, pointing out the decline of your physical body, offering suggestions of things. The government thinks that they are doing you a favor by pointing out all of the side effects of the different things that they're offering. But actually, they have compounded the negative effect of the commercials by 1,000-fold, because now, not only is what activated within you the slight symptom that you might have that makes you ask for this ingredient that might cure it, but now you are privy to all of the vibrational dialogue about all of the possible side effects, because one person in a city that you do not know had such an effect, and so now they feel that they must point that out to you. It might make you blind, they say. Probably not a very good chance of that, but you hear that commercial a few thousand times and you're coughing in the audience. It's just the way it works, you see. Do you know that's what your negative emotion is? Please return to the highlighted route. Please return to the highlighted route. Is your indication that you are not now in vibrational alignment with what you are wanting. As kids, did you play the game hot and cold, where somebody knew where you were supposed to go and then they gave you guidance? You're colder, you're hotter, you're colder, you're hotter as you move closer or further from your destination. It's the same thing. Your guidance system is letting you know where you are, the vibrational relativity between where you say you want to be and what's waiting for you over there in vibrational escrow, and the thoughts that you are activating right now, which equal your point of attraction. You will never move toward something that you are vibrationally different from. So when you think about it, your vibrational escrow is full of all of the things that you've been thinking about. Some of them you want, some of them you don't want. And you can tell by the way you feel whether you're moving towards something that's going to feel good when it gets there, or whether you're moving towards something that doesn't feel so good when you get there. You know, you wake up, you're sort of ornery. You don't take time to think thoughts of appreciation. You just go with the flow of ornery. You were overwhelmed when you went to bed, and you feel a little overwhelmed when you wake up. And then in that vibration, one of your kids does something that is even compounding the irritation. And before you know it, you're announcing to yourself, this is going to be another one of those days. And we say, those are the kinds of days or moments that are moving you toward a manifestation that when it gets there, you're not going to like it. And when it gets there, you're going to say, if you've not been aware of your vibration, where did that come from? Just came out of the blue, you say. And we say, no, never. You were moving incrementally before it. Now we will say to you, and this is really worth making note of, 99.99% of every creation is complete before you see physical evidence. So you're filling your future full of all kinds of things, but you can tell by the way you feel which of those things you're moving toward that are going to please you when you get there, and which of those things that you're moving toward that are not going to please you when you get there. So our encouragement to you is to make a decision today. We'll wait for you. It's all right. Just open it up. She's trying to be very quiet, but it's not possible with that paper, is it? No reason to feel uncomfortable. There is only love and slight annoyance here. No annoyance. So when you realize that what's unfolding in your vibrational future is shown to you by the way you feel, then you reach a place where you really want to say, it matters how I feel. And when you make that decision that it matters how you feel, now you've activated your own personal guidance. Now you're never going to be lost in the desert again. You're never going to be disoriented again. We don't want you to fear your thoughts. You live in an environment with enormous latitude, on the brink of magnificent creation, on a platform that is based in well-being. In other words, it's not even a 50-50 chance that things will go bad for you. It's almost a sure thing that things will go wonderful for you. In fact, your legacy is one of well-being. It takes a lot of vibrational discord to go far from where you think you want to go. And you know what mixes you up about this? You see people create things like maybe a friend will die. And you think, most of you who don't want to die or don't want to die yet, you've accepted that you will, but you don't want to do it ever. Most of you. And so most of you, as you see someone else create something that you would not want to create for yourself, you almost automatically assume that they didn't want to create it either, and therefore it was a bad thing that happened to them, and therefore it must have been miscreating. And you just don't know that. You cannot know the vibrational relationship between what anybody else wants and where anybody else is. And when you try to factor in their opinions about this and that and the other, you lose your place. That's why so many people have lost track of their journeys. It's why so many people, you have this incurable disease. Somebody gives it that label. And the only reason they call it incurable is because they haven't seen a cure for it. Well, who are they who gets to decide the vibrational relationship between where you are and where you want to be? What anybody else has done with their vibrational relationship has nothing to do with you. The facts or the evidence of what anybody else has created about anything has nothing to do with you. How did they convince you that it has something to do with you? Early on, you must have stopped listening to your own guidance and started listening to guidance that was outside of you. And the problem with that is they're not all that interested. They can't stay undividedly focused upon you and the elements of your experience. You want them to. You expect them to. That's the reason that so many of you are resentful of your own parents. You ask the impossible of them. You wanted their undivided attention, and they could not begin to give you their undivided attention. No one can. But source energy gives you its undivided attention. And its undivided attention is a vibration of well-being. And when you deviate from the undivided attention of source energy into a thought of unworthiness, or into a thought of not enoughness, or into a thought of inferiority or insecurity, those emotions that feel so awful to you are your evidence that you have deviated from the undivided thought of source energy. Source energy loves you no matter what, you see. Source energy expects good things for you no matter what. And when you focus other than that and beat the drum of something long enough that you activate a vibration within you where you don't let the well-being in that you want and deserve, then you vibrationally deviate from your source. But your source never forsakes you. Your source, it never lets go of you. Your source never stops focusing upon you. But sometimes you get out of range.